friends, it's Linda from Richter Stitcher. I wanted to come on real quick since tomorrow is July 1st. I apologize for my voice. I had my sinus procedure done and I'm just kind of recovering the last 2 days. But before July got here, I wanted to share with you my completed works for Wipgo. I also wanted to mention, since this one's not a very long one this time around, it is Flosstube number 8, I'm pretty sure. But towards the end I will have a small video of my craft room. I was able to do that this last couple weeks and just share where I store all of my stuff and how I've got my craft room set up. So I thought I would tag that on to the end. This is my chart. I was able to complete a bingo, thankfully, with coming to America, and that's what I'll share first. This is the pattern. I'm sorry for the glare. I'm in a different spot instead of my craft room, kind of recuperating on the couch, so I brought all my things over here and wanted to share. This is a Brenda Gervais pattern, and I had a few things done on it before I started it, but I only had to get 25 X's into it, so I mainly worked on, let me see if I can put something behind it. Mainly worked on the birds, if you can see that. I was able to get some legs and beaks and things on my birds. And then I went over here on this side. You'll see a little bit of stitching there. That's from the start of the anchor on the picture. But I did some down here on this bird and this bird up here. And there might have been one in here that I completed a beak or two on, which got me to my 25 X's, and I was able to color in my chart to give myself a bingo. So I'll share with you what I pulled out for a reward on that in a minute. My second project, the numbers were 9 and 16 in the month of June, so the Coming to America was number 9, and number 16 was this one called Welcome Home, and it's the January house. I basically worked on the sled over here, and I'll share that here to get my 25 X's on that. Just trying to get up close here. I guess I'll keep this bag in behind. But I had a little bit done on it already, but I came over here to the sled and counted how many X's I would need, and I think I might have done a little over in this snowman's hat, but came all around and was able to get my 25 X's there. So it's coming along. I'm liking the look of the door and the windows. Still need to finish up on the roof, but for now I'm going to put it aside since I set that goal for this month. And then, what is her name? Jessie Marie, sorry, pulled the numbers for July. And this next month in July, we're going to be doing, oops, I didn't write it down here, but we're doing numbers 11, which is Stitch Sisters, the goal of 25 X's. And then 18 is Bless Our Home. My goal is to finish one letter, so I'll share you those projects. We'll do Stitch Sisters first. It was a free pattern on Sassy Jack's website for, what is her name? Sassafrass Samplers, I think is their name. So I can probably share the chart. It's just going to be some Stitch Sisters with some squirrels. And I made a couple alterations and substitutes. I didn't have all the DMC when I kitted this up. So the changes that I made were, I don't know, you can probably see it here. I used a 22 for the 349. I used 21 for 350. I'm going to use 407 for 435. 801 is going to be 632's color. 945 I went with for the 738, and 899 for 3706. And one more over here, I went with 798 for the 3845. And I can show you those colors here. I want to get them better on, trying to get them off of these bobbins, so I'm going to be putting them on these thread drops here like I did these. And I'll probably pull the skeins as well and put them all on the same kind of rings. It's just easier. But those are the colors for this one. And I'll show you where I will be starting. It's on a 14 count Aida. I think it's called Toast. So 25 X's will be added to this start. And I'll probably finish the hearts and see how many that gives me, because it'll look like this one up here. And then that one will be accomplished for July. And then my other Wipgo for the month is 18, Bless Our Home. And it is one of my first stitches back in the 1980s when I started cross stitch. It was a stamped version, so it's already stamped, but it's a candle wick. I don't know if you've heard of that before, but it says God Bless Our Home, and I'm over here in the U of Our, and I've got quite a bit of the house done, and God Bless is all done with the French knots. Those were pretty easy to pick up, but I'm struggling with the satin stitch that the letters are done in, and I'll share that with you. I'm going to have to pull some out probably before I actually get it right, but I don't think I'm going to be able to get the whole thing in, so I'll go slowly. There's the stamped part and the house, but this is the part that I'm struggling with. You can probably see the U and the O totally look different. I tried to start this back up last year, and I'm just really struggling to get a nice look with it compared to the O. So I'm going to probably pull that out maybe somewhere around in here and try to get a neater look. This looks okay, but I'm not sure if I'm using the right amount of strands in there or not, but I'm going to hopefully figure it out and make that goal for Wipgo. So this is one of the ones I would like to get on the wall, because it's gotten quite a bit done. I just put it away and it got stuck in a closet. And when I started back 3 years ago, I told myself, let's do this. And my husband really likes it, so I'd like to see it on a frame and in our house someday, hopefully soon. So those were my two for this July. Other things that I've worked on this month, I'll share. Like I said, I had a bingo, and I decided to pull out this one. It was already kitted up, so I told myself, let us go ahead and get this started and reward myself. And then when StitchCon was happening, I thought, well, that was just another reason to pull out something new. And I really love the 4th of July. I don't have a lot of 4th of July items, so I'm hoping that I can get this started. I'm doing it on the called for tin roof, which is a 35 count. You can see that color. And then these are the colors that I'll be doing it with, and I didn't make any substitutes. I was able to get all well, actually, I don't know what the called for is now that you say that. I actually went with all DMC. So I did make those changes, and there's a chart on the back of this that tells you what you need for DMC if you don't have the classic color works and things. So that's what I did. I just found all the DMC, and I think that'll look really nice with these colors. And just put it on a ring and keep that with it. So that was one reward that I gave myself, and I'm excited to get that started and put on a frame hopefully this month. This one I also found with Sweetwater Stitcher. She shared on her channel about screen door needleworks, and I went ahead and purchased that. It was only like $5, I think, but wanted to share what I kitted up. I have a 28 count that it calls for, and I don't know if it's showing up very well in the color or not, but compared to the photo, if you can see that, it looks really light, but it's got a little bit of modeling. So the 28 count that I have is a Charles Craft Irish even weave linen, so there's really not much modeling in it. So I'm debating on whether to use that. And then I thought I would share the other two other ones that I have that I could possibly use, but if I don't change count and stick with the 28, I've got this one called Mountain Air Egyptian Sand. It's a 28 count. It's a little more on the brown than the tan, so I'm not sure I want that much modeling in it, but I thought I'd share and maybe see if somebody else might have a suggestion. The one that's closest to the picture that I have is a 14 count doubloon, which is an Ada, but it has the nice modeling in it that's like the picture and closer to that color. My camera's really not showing the color too well. It's more of a yellowy compared to the even weave. You can probably see the difference maybe there. But the colors, I kind of went in my stash to see what I had that was similar. I have two reds for choice. I'm going to lay this down here, might be able to see it better. These are the colors that I was thinking. I'm pretty sure I'm going to probably not, this depends on how much I need. Candied apple is not as red as I'd like compared to the red that they have in Texas. So I'm thinking maybe the brighter red. And then I went with a, it's called sea glass instead of the Chesapeake Bay is another one. So I'm thinking those colors might look good. Then they asked for a honeycomb, which I did not have. And I'm liking the goldy yellow one more than this one. So this one's called Butter Crunch. So I've got to make up my mind on the yellow. It's either Mimosa or Butter Crunch, but I'm leaning towards Butter Crunch. I mean, I like the darker, but I only have one skein of that, and I might need more than that. And then I have the McHale's Navy, which is one of the blues. I didn't have Hunter, so I'm going to go with Green Pasture. And then for the white, I didn't have Grits, but I do have an NPI Silk that I want to use. So I'm planning to do that. These lighter blues I probably won't use. I'll probably go ahead and use the bright blue, because I think it goes better with the blue bonnets on the picture. Show that again. It would be these bright blues over here, so I'm thinking this blue would go best. And then I have a periwinkle. Instead I'm using Betty Bluebell. And then they needed an icicle, which I thought this would be a good one. So that's my plan for this pattern, and I'm looking forward to doing that. So for now, that's probably going to have to do. I need to get myself together here, but I wanted to share my plans for July, and not sure when I'll get back on, hopefully in a couple weeks after the 4th. I hope everyone has a wonderful holiday, and I appreciate you watching and coming back every time. Hope everyone has a good night, and we'll talk to you again soon. Welcome to my happy place. I'm just going to share some of the things that I store in this room for now. Hopefully as we get things together in the next year, I'll be able to decide what's worth keeping, what solutions that I've made are worth doing again in the new place. But wanted to share how I store some of my cross stitch and sewing and crafting supplies. Let's see, where should I start? Let's start, I guess we'll just start behind the door and go left to right maybe. My husband hung some pegs that I found, I think at Target, not positive. If I link anything below, if I can remember where it was, then I will do that. But he put those on the wall, and currently I just store my small ironing board and then my larger one, and then I have a little cute bag that I found at a shop somewhere and thought, you know, he's pink, he's cute and fleecy, so I use it once in a while if I go places with craft items in there. One of my friends, Kathy, is a cross stitcher, and I think she had one with dogs on it, and I asked her if she could make me one with cats, and she generously did that and made me a little cat bag, so I thought that was really cute. So I hang it here with my little magnet board back there. So that's what's on the back of the door. I do have a little letter board. I need to probably, well, the date's correct, it's June. It's still June. I just do it by the month. I don't usually put the day, but I love that saying, live, love, laugh, and then seize the day, carpe diem. So I did that. Got my fat quarter shop clock that's currently giving me issues. I think I might have to buy a thing for the back because it gets stuck whenever I hang it. If I lay it flat, the second hand works, but for some reason it's not keeping time. But I loved it because of the color, of course, and then it's got the thread on it. This is a TV back here behind my little quilted pad, but for now that's how I've got that hung up. So if I want to watch YouTube or TV, that's what I use there. The two boxes underneath are cross stitch completed projects that haven't been framed, as well as some kits from Dimensions that haven't gotten started, so I just stored those in there. I've got my mannequin over here. I try to change it out once in a while, but I made this little shawl with my crochet yarn, so I just hung it on there for now. But once in a while I'll just seasonally put tops on here. The bookshelf here has lots of stuff on it, but I'll just share the box with all the little open drawers here. I just have miscellaneous things. These are like eyes. If you crochet and make little animals, like these little animals have eyes on them, so that's what those are. Magnets. Then I have just supplies, things that came with stuff that I haven't used or don't need right now. The IKEA system you'll see here in a minute, these all go on that for clips, different things. And I've actually found my door stopper that I was looking for. Since I moved a shelf, I need to put that back on the door when I'm done. but lanyards in here, floral tapes, non-DMC threads, bobbin holders, just all kinds of knickknacks. Things that you might need, rubber bands, clips, if you're a crafter and you need bells for anything, just all kinds of stuff. So that's, I repurposed it. It was my husband's. It used to be blue. So I painted it white and brought it in here. These little Keurig holders that are supposed to be for coffee, I found a little something online shared, you know, you could buy these little cups and they fit inside there. And I just put all my sewing, extra threads, sewing needles and bobbins in those, and then the feet for all the different sewing machines that I have are all in here. If I need a different zipper foot, or if I'm appliquing or anything like that, they're all in here, and just that way I can see them and they're not just stuffed in a drawer and I'm trying to figure out where I put them. I like to see what I have. Let's see, the books mostly are quilting. Oh, I have cross-stitch crafts. I've been putting a lot of my patterns in sleeves and putting them in these binders, so that's kind of taken up a lot of time lately. And then I've got my magazines in the magazine ones. Then there's cross-stitch books, knitting books, and quilting books are kind of on that shelf. And like I said, I print a lot, so especially Fat Quarter Shop has a free pattern, or I've purchased a pattern like from Stitching with the Housewives. You have to print them, so I don't like to just put the paper in the sleeves. I put them in the plastic sleeves and then I put them in the binders. So like see, knitting, cross stitch, amigurumi, that's how you say it. That's supposed to say applique. I've lost a few stickers, so I'm gonna have to figure out another system to make sure that I don't lose. Like some of these are inside plastic so they won't come off, but these are just straight up top. So maybe put a piece of clear tape over top and keep it from coming off. Lori Holt patterns in here, just all different kinds of patterns that I've printed. I've had fun doing that over the years, but I've collected quite a few, as you will see. This is my floor lamp. It can wheel next to a sofa if I need it for cross stitch, because it does have a magnifier on it and different levels of light. But for now I'm using it as my craft table light, since I don't have a light above me. I thought right over top of my cutting table would be nice. And it can go taller if I want it to, or it can swing out of the way. So for now I just kind of keep it right there. Lots of sewing paraphernalia over here for cutting and crafting. If I need to glue something or even frame something, I usually do it here up on this table that I made from another tip that I seen online. Somebody took 3 bookshelves. Right now I currently only have 2, and they're the ones that you put the little cubbies in. There's 6 here and then 6 over here. If you don't want the caddy garage, that's what I call it, because that can slide out, you can squeeze these 2 shelves together, and then in front of those 2 you would put another bookshelf, and that way you would have, it'd be the same size that as it is now, but this table you would just make long ways, if that makes any sense. But currently I'm using it as a caddy garage, since I have my what do they call these, 3-tiered rolling carts. Currently I'm using it for just holding glues, ruler storage, iron storage, like I said, sewing, pencils, things like that you need. I do some beading or floss ring type thing, zipper pulls, so my tools for that are all in here, with extra scissors,
note tape and stuff like that. This lid comes off, and under there are some storage that I use for my crochet pom-pom makers. There's a cord maker in there for cording if you're finishing items. So that's kind of what I do for the table. And like I said, it's just like a little parking garage for it. And when I don't use it, don't need anything off of there, I just wheel it back underneath. On carpet, it's a little more difficult to wheel, and my rug, but I'm hoping in my new craft area there will be no carpet in the rooms, so it will be hopefully a lot easier to move things around and not have to adjust so much. But I found those little sewing machine things at Hobby Lobby and had my husband nail them in or screw them in, and that's where I hang my rotary cutters, and then the scissors that I mostly use I hang out here. But back to the table itself, like I said, I went to IKEA and got a tabletop. I forget the size, but I can link all this stuff if I get a chance. But like I said, just find the right size for this shelf. And it fits, like I said, another bookshelf in the front if you don't have your garage there. I put the IKEA pegboard, it's a Skatus, I think is the name. It has a clip, I don't know if you can see under there, one there and then one on the other side, and it just fastens to the back, because here I have not too much wall space, but I don't want to put big holes in the wall, especially the kind that those use to hang and support it well. So this works fine, and there's a lot of weight on that if you look at all the stuff that I've got on there, as well as the rulers in the back. I don't have those hanging on the wall, they're actually on the pegboard, just with the accessories that come with it, or you buy extra with it to hang your supplies. So I decided to put my rulers in the back so that they're not all over the place. So most of my ruler storage is here at the table, which is very helpful, so I'm not having to go find where I put those. And some people, you know, you have one in one area and a bunch in another area. I just try to keep them all centrally located. Lots of tapes, and then of course my clips, wonder clips, measuring tapes, quilting pins, just all the different things that you use when you sew. So that's kind of what I keep up here. I have lots of light everywhere. But yeah, things that need to be mended or fixed or glued, they tend to end up here on the table with my cutting mats that I've collected. I kind of keep those handy as well. Over to the machine and the main central area where I keep all of my flosses and threads. The serger was given to me by a friend at church that wanted it to go to a good home, so I'm in the process of trying to thread it. I noticed it wasn't sewing properly the other day, so, well, it's been a couple weeks actually, so I decided to rethread it, so I'm in the process of doing that. I've got 2 of the 4 needles threaded, so it's getting there. I hang my scissors, extra scissors for cross stitch and things, small scissors over here, and then I also use the frog and just kind of store them in the frog. These are all markers. Different kinds of threads are here. The DMC threads I keep up here on my peg system. Each peg has a number, so 1 through 8, and then 9 through 16, and so forth. And then you get the DMC catalog book, and they all are numbered by row, so whatever is on row 1 goes on peg 1. So that's kind of how I do that. Kreinik, no system there. I just had purchased these from Amazon, different colored sets, put them on rings, and then these are like jewelry hangers, so I just decided to use them for my thread hangers. These DMC have not been filed yet, so that's what these are down here, or extra ones that came out of something that I've finished. I want to find the color and then put it on the right peg. These are the ones that I've collected for thread hangers so far, as well as floss rings, and then these I just hang on zippy bags to help carry them if I'm going anywhere. Over here is my magnet system for cross stitch or anything magnet that I need. I just kind of hang them here on this board, and this is just decorative up here, just some sewing machines and thimbles, cat paraphernalia. And then this jewelry hanger here is my NPI silks that I've collected. I get 5 every other month through keepsakes, so I've collected a few, and I just love looking at the colors. So, and then these are the rings that I buy on Amazon that I use to hang all of these on. These hangers are a little different. They have clips on them. You can get them on Amazon as well. They're mainly for curtain rods though, but I decided to use them for the threads. And then this is some of the patterns I haven't finished putting in the sleeves yet, but I'm getting there. We're getting close. Some of the things I've made crochet wise, those are the amigurumis and a pumpkin. Down here I keep my beads, as well as if I'm going to make a floss ring or something, they all are in there. And underneath that I keep the things that hold your floss in your patterns. They just have the holes in them, so those are all in there. I found this little arm the other day talking on a chat with some cross stitch people, and I just thought that would be the cutest or coolest holder to put your Q-snaps. Fit perfect in these, and you can tighten them up. And I also thought if I'm wanting to film something, I can hang my phone from it. There's different attachments that you can get, so you can also use it on the table there, so that if you're sitting with a chair next to you, that would be another stand that can be used. My floss system is in here for overdyes. I alphabetize them here. So Weeks Dye Works, Classic Color Works, that kind of stuff is in here. And those are also on rings. The other side are Kit Mania mostly. I stuck in here the things that I've kitted the last 2 months really. So they all have patterns and flosses and fabrics in those. So plenty of things to stitch on if I'm bored. Top shelf is just my file system for, you know, my sewing machines, anything I need to keep. And then this other side is by designer, the patterns that I've collected, A through Z. So there's a few in there besides what I've already kitted up. Fabric is actually stored here. These are also IKEA shelves. I can't think of the brand, but if I find it, I will put it in there. Different ones that I bought through like Fat Quarter Shop, the different counts. There's mostly 14 counts, a few 40 and 46s, lots of 36s. I think that's 36. No, 32 count. And then there's a couple 28 counts. So I've got a little collection going. This is the book I was referring to when I talked about my DMC. So just kind of reference what I was sharing. Column 1, all those colors would go on peg 1. Column 2, peg 2, and so forth. So hopefully someday I'll have a full set. Not there yet. These little boxes I keep fabric scraps in for now. These are current quilt along, and then thread information if I need to know counts and things on different fabrics. That's all the information there. The cupboards up here, I mainly store my main whips that I'm doing through the year with Wipgo, are up in those two. And then these are all fabric that I've collected. Like I said, I have several sewing machines. My main one is Kathy, the featherweight. She was gifted to me. It's a 1947, I think, Red S machine, which I love. I keep my main Kenmore machine down there. That's what I grew up with, raising kids. It was a Kenmore, some sewing boxes I keep under there. These frames here, these are my collection of frames that I have, so I need to find a good system. If anybody has any good ideas, let me know. I'm thinking of getting another one of these that's in the other closet and maybe storing it in this closet here. But that's my plan for framing stuff. I want to have my frames for different things stored nicely. The other side over here is my other fabrics that I keep. There's lighting, clip lights and stuff are in here. This is the current project I'm working on with Kathy. It's the quilt from Pat Sloan. Quilters Stand for Ukraine, so I'm in the process of trying to finish that. Up above storage, I have beads and buttons all in those, pom-poms, extra yarn, similar to walnut shells. That's the stuff that you would stuff animals with. Keep that in there. So that's kind of what I have up on top. These three top drawers, I have just empty containers, like if I need something to hold. It's what I keep in, like clips and stuff like that. So extra frames, things like that are in these three top drawers, and then the bottom three drawers are currently, people call me the bag lady. I have lots of zippy bags and then project bags I keep stored in there. This bag has all my sewing cross-stitch needles, not cross-stitch, crochet needles and knitting needles are all in those. So I need to figure out a good system for that. But the closet itself is mainly for yarn, as you can see. Cross-stitch supplies are in a couple of the cubbies. I have fabrics that people have given me with batting, kind of stored up and away. This side is also yarn. Different numbers, like bulky, and then there's some 2s and 3s up there that if you are a sock knitter. And then diamond painting are in these containers here. That's my yarn winder. At one time I was putting them on paper towel rolls, but depending on how much you put on in there, they start to come unwound. So I decided to get a wind ball winder, and they turn out a little nicer. Like you can see these little balls here. I like that storage a little bit better than the unraveling. And then my husband made these inserts to help kind of keep them in there. So that's kind of what I'm doing with my yarn for storage. These are just extra scrap fabrics that I've collected and been given to me. So I need to go through all this and figure out what to keep. Maybe make room down in here for my frames. I'd like to stack them in here somehow. And then the other side of the closet, it's called Fast Track system from, I think it's Home Depot. But my husband nailed that up to the wall, and you buy these accessories to hold different things like your paints and oils, just things that I use in my sewing and craft room for good storage. I used to have gift wrap and stuff on here, but when I got it back into cross stitch, I started putting my frames on the hooks, and just extra bags that I could use to carry things as things fall. So I need to figure out better clips maybe, but lots of paper and vinyl type paper that comes in handy. But most of this on the floor here, it looks like it's a mess, but all I have to do is move these two frames and I can at least pull something off if I need a different size frame. I've got round ones and Q-snaps, and then my wood floor stand is in here as well, so I can use that. That's what's stored in the closet, and that's pretty much my system of organizing this craft room for now. The two chairs underneath also have flannel in that one, and then I've got yarn whips in there that I started and haven't finished. But these are the other 3 sewing machines that I have besides my Serger and the Kenmore and the Singer. So what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sewing machines in this little room. But these 2 are both antique Singers, black ones, and then that one's a Good Housekeeping pink sewing machine that was gifted to me. Someone at church wanted it to have a good home. The 2 Singers I actually purchased at an antique mall. They were selling for less than $100 a piece. So when I first got into it, I found one for $89 and couldn't pass it up, and then the other one was $100. So I was like, okay, I guess I'm going to be collecting sewing machines for now. And then when my friend Kathy gifted me her Singer, I was like, okay, I guess we're going to have to get a lot of black sewing machine paraphernalia in here. So I've collected a few things with sewing machines that I just love to craft on. I've made a few quilts, and mostly table runner type quilts. And then when my grandbaby was born, I made her a quilt when she came this year. So it's really fun, and I want to get back to it with all the other crafts that you can see I've started or need to finish. But that's how I supply and store my craft items in this room. I would say is probably a 11 by 26 maybe. It's the size room that I'm in. So thankfully it's going to double in my next house. So if all goes well, that's what I'm looking forward to, storing and organizing it properly so that I can keep doing what I love, because it is my happy place.